We are back now here with part 2 of my soundtrack collection. So here we have a soundtrack that is not for a movie and not for the play either. This is the Jesus Christ Superstar soundtrack, and this is in fact began as a concept album and was later turned into a play and a movie, or so I've read. Okay, the music here is excellent, even though the album design for this is as boring as hell. I mean, take a look at this gatefold. Get ready for it. There you go. Brown. And that's it. I mean, seriously? Seriously? And you say, well, maybe there's something on the back cover. Forget it. Not even the songs are here. Can you believe that? But anyway. Album sleeve design issues aside, this is great music. All right. So a must-have, I believe, in any soundtrack collection. We now go here with a movie that I do have on DVD. Jonathan Livingston Seagull, here with the songs by Neil Diamond. All right. I'm a fan of Neil Diamond. This is the, I believe, a Mexican edition of this album, as you can see there, right there by the Spanish language title. But it's got all the songs in English, of course, the original songs. There you have, and Neil Diamond, and the songs there. Pretty good album. Got that one at a thrift store. Here we have a movie that viewers of this video may have never even heard of, because it is a Mexican movie about a Mexican comic book character who, incongruously enough, is a character whose adventures are set in Egypt or Asia, as you can see right there by the pyramids. This is for the movie Calimán, the El Hombre Increíble, the Incredible Man. He's kind of a character that has not superpowers, but yes, enhanced physical abilities because of his mental concentration. All right. I do not know if I have this on a DVD. I believe my brother may have it on DVD. All right, Calimán, right there, the music from that movie. Now we go to a movie that is very, very well known, of course, a Labyrinth. This is an original pressing of it, of an original Mexican pressing, even though, and I believe this one has been recently reissued. This Labyrinth soundtrack, great music by David Bowie, and some additional scoring there by Trevor Jones. Great songs, you know, Underground, Into the Labyrinth, Magic Dance, Sarah, As the World Falls Down. That's a really great song. Love the soundtrack, love the movie. I have the soundtrack, in fact, right here on vinyl, on cassette, and on CD, and I have the movie on DVD and Blu-ray, so you can tell how much I love this movie. Labyrinth, very well known, very much loved. We go now here to a lesser known movie, The Legend of the Lone Ranger. Now this is not the absolutely abysmal version with Johnny Depp. This is one that came out in very early 80s, right there, which is, well, a lot of people don't like that movie, but I do. I think it's very entertaining. The Legend of the Lone Ranger. Now continue now here with some show tunes here for Man of La Mancha. Got this one at a thrift store. I have not seen this play, nor do I have any version on DVD. Best musical of 1966. So that's saying something right there. Man of La Mancha. Now we go to a movie soundtrack, really good one. We have here Man of Steel, music by Hans Zimmer, you know, who has done many really, really good soundtracks. The Man of Steel's music here. A very percussive soundtrack, as you can see by all those drums. And I believe Jason Bonham son of John Bonham of Led Zeppelin, plays on this album. Among the drum ensemble. Pretty good soundtrack. Not very memorable, but yes, it has some very good songs there. Some very good tracks. Even though the main theme, it's a bit hard to get into your head, but once you do, you do recognize it. Okay, so Man of Steel. We go now here to a compilation album, Mancini's Angels. Now, Henry Mancini, of course, has done soundtracks for many movies, and one of his themes was the theme for Charlie's Angels, the TV series, which is included here along with some other ones. As you can see, What's Happening, Many Rains Ago, theme from Roots, Car Wash, Silver Streak, The Money Changers, the Inspector Clouseau theme, Gonna Fly Now, and Evergreen. All right, Mancini's Angels, right there, conducting some of his own greatest hits. Now we continue with Metropolis. Now, as you know, of course, Metropolis is a silent movie, so how could it have a soundtrack? The thing is that during the 80s, this movie was reissued, and with some slight colorization to the image, and with a soundtrack of popular pop and rock stars of the era. As you can there see, Freddie Mercury, Pat Benatar, John Anderson from Yes, Bonnie Tyler, Loverboy, Billy Squier, and Adam Ant, as well as Cycle V, who I had never heard of. Original motion picture soundtrack. This one opens up in a rather odd way, from the top instead of from the side. Right there you see some of the familiar faces from the 80s. Bonnie Tyler, Billy Squier. Metropolis. I did see this one. I don't have the Metropolis on DVD, though I did see this movie reissued back in the 80s in movie theaters. We now continue with another, classic My Fair Lady here. Audrey Hepburn, Rex Harrison. I believe this one was my father's LP, which I now have in my own collection. And now, a romantic movie, The Other Side of the Mountain. This is a movie based on a true story of a woman who has a skiing accident and winds up in a wheelchair. And so this is her story, how she gets her life back together, and also finds love. Featuring Olivia Newton-John, who sings Richard's Window, right there, the name of the song. All right, but the rest of the score is instrumental. We continue now with its sequel, The Other Side of the Mountain, Part 2. Right here, music from the original motion picture soundtrack by Lee Holdridge, who did many soundtracks from the 70s and 80s. Right there. Really glad to have these two. I do have Other Side of the Mountain on DVD, but not the Part 2. One that I do have on DVD is Quest for Fire. I got this one. I believe I got this one at a record store. The only one I've ever been to. Really nice gatefold here. Right there, if you can make that out, that is Ray Don Chong crouching and starting a fire, prehistoric way, by rubbing sticks together. Scenes from the movie, right there. A movie about, prehistoric times. Now continuing here with, one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time, and really one of the best movies of all time, which is, of course, Saturday Night Fever. Incredibly popular in its day, and just it defined an entire era. Here we have, of course, this is mainly for the Bee Gees songs, which you can see right here, but the entire 2-disc set is a great listen front to back. You can have whatever prejudices you may about disco music, but this is really good music. All right, and I've had this for ages, and the dust jacket is literally falling apart right there at the seams. I do have this also on CD, and if I cannot, I'll upgrade this vinyl here, Saturday Night Fever. We now continue here with another musical. Saturday Night Fever was not really a musical. It was a movie with a lot of music in it, but not a musical. And this is a musical, which is Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. Excuse me, Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Right now, if you're thinking that this movie stars the Beatles, guess again. It stars Peter Frampton and the Bee Gees as Sergeant Pepper's band. Here you will see the Bee Gees and the Peter Frampton, and right there dressed in the Sergeant Pepper's outfits. And this was a movie that came out in the 70s. By all accounts, the movie totally sucks. I have never seen it, though I do want to see it, and not only that, but own the DVD if possible. All right. It has not only Sgt. Pepper songs, but also other Beatles songs, as you can see here. The Long and Winding Road by Peter Frampton. Take a pause there if you're interested. All right. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. We now go on here with the South Pacific. Very famous musical, but I've never seen it. I got this at a thrift store. You know, it was super cheap. I got it. There you go. And now here, a very odd soundtrack. We have Starman, and right there it says El Libertario, which means the Liberator. This is a soundtrack of a movie that was never made. Of this South American superhero called Starman, of which I read some comics way back when in my youth. And so right here it explains about the history of this soundtrack of a movie that was never made, based on this comic book character. Right. Starman, the Liberator. Now for a much more well-known movie, Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Yeah, love that cover. Of course, this was the first of the many Star Trek movies when the original cast reunited for this movie, which I believe was 1979. A lot of people don't like this movie. They say it's kind of slow, but I really like it. In fact, I own it on a Blu-ray. Really good music there. There you go. The crew of the Star Trek Enterprise. Jerry Goldsmith's score. Can't go wrong with that. And another one that, of course, you cannot go wrong with is John Williams here for The Empire Strikes Back. Here, my copy, which I've had ever since it came out, is, of course, a lot of ringware. And this is a soundtrack, of course. Well, what can you say? This is the insert that came with, which was originally sticked there. But in my folly, or rather in my youth, I unsticked it so that I could display it on the wall. But now it's here together. Really, really good soundtrack, of course. What can you say? Let's just take a look at the insert here, with pictures from the movie. Vader and Boba Fett, and the classic duel. Front to back, a great listen to this soundtrack. Incredibly enough, I only have two other Star Wars soundtracks, full, which are The Phantom Menace and this next one, which I'm going to show, which is Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Here we have it on vinyl for this modern Star Wars movie. Music by Michael Giacchino. Here we have the gatefold with small pictures right there from the film. Pretty good score, but of course it doesn't even come close to anything that John Williams did. Let's look at the back. Vader right there. 2 LP set, as is Empire Strikes Back. Now another movie that I've never seen, Rodgers and Hammersmith's State Fair, right there. Pat Boone, Bobby Darin, Pamela Tiffin, and Margaret. Never seen it. I don't think I've even heard this album. I got this also at a thrift shop. We now continue with Superman the movie. Again, bought it way back then, and I got it really cheap because it was from the cutout bin. As you can see, absolutely stunning score right there by John Williams. I also have it on the extended version of the score on a CD. Look at that gatefold. You just cannot go wrong with that gatefold. All right then, and now the sequel, Superman 2. Here we have music by Ken Thorne with themes by John Williams. All right, Superman 2. Right there. This one has a, let me see if I can take it out, special situation going on with the vinyl, where it has a laser etched Superman symbols on it. Let's see if I can just manage this with one hand. There we go. Let's see if we can pick it up right there. Check it out. I don't know if it's got the Superman symbols right there, laser etched onto the vinyl, which I think is pretty cool. And yes, they are on both sides. Nice. All right then. We now continue with a very little known movie, and it's called The Tilt, one of Brooke Shields' very early films, and it's about a young pinball wizard who hustles older players in pinball games. Tilt. It's a pretty standard collection of songs right there, which were written originally, I believe, for this movie. And I absolutely love this cover. This is in fact not the movie cover, the movie poster, excuse me, but it was made originally for this album, and I just love it. Look at that. Continuing now with Tommy. Here, this is the soundtrack not for the original Tommy by The Who, but for the movie that was later made there, directed, I believe, by Ken Russell. Starring Jack Nicholson and Margaret, The Who themselves, Eric Clapton right there, Elton John, who appears as the Pinball Wizard, and Tina Turner as the Acid Queen. I do have this movie on Blu-ray as well. Tommy the movie. There are the tracks. Almost done here. We have a Two of a Kind here, and I don't remember if I've ever seen this movie, but of course, because I'm a big fan of Olivia Newton-John, I have this album, and this is not just her music, but it has some other songs right there by Boz Scaggs, Journey, Chicago, and of course Olivia does, I believe, 3 songs on this album. Let's look at the gatefold. Check that out. Olivia and John Travolta. We now continue a complete change of pace here for a modern movie, a modern horror movie. One of my absolute favorite modern horror movies, which is The Witch, a New England folk tale. Take a look at that. Standard black vinyl, but this is really, really one creepy soundtrack. Really glad to have this. Alright, if you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it. The Witch. And we are going to finish now with another Olivia Newton-John movie, which is Xanadu. A lot of people just completely make fun of this movie, but it's one of my favorites. I do have it on DVD. There we go with the gatefold. A really, really fun and colorful musical, with really great music by both Olivia and Electric Light Orchestra. You will see Olivia holding up the ELO Starship logo. Just great songs here. And one curious thing about the vinyl, even though this is a gatefold, this is a single disc edition, is that instead of having it be side A and side B, it's got this. It's called side O and J and side ELO, meaning the songs for each artist. Olivia Newton-John and Electric Light Orchestra. Well, that finishes my soundtrack collection on vinyl. If I get any more, I will upload a update video. Thank you very much for watching, and so long.